G'day, my name's Alan Gamble. Welcome to another episode of Aussie Box Office Charts. A late one due to the public holiday. Do apologise, but let's dive in to last weekend. At number 1, we had Taylor Swift, the official release party of a showgirl, opening with $2.8 million in its opening weekend, because it was only showing the Saturday and Sunday. It was a 2-day exclusive, and while that is $1 million less than the Eras Tour opened to, it is still the second highest opening music concert event movie in Australian history. We'll take a quick look at that chart later. But opening to 2.8 puts Taylor Swift in number 1. At number 2, we have The Bad Guys 2, bringing in $2.4 million in its third week of release, gaining 23% on week 2. Now, this was a very, very special case, a very unique case in the Australian box office, but its current total is $11.5 million, which has now outgrossed the original Bad Guys from 2022. But The Bad Guys opened to $1.5 million. Last weekend, it brought in $1.9 million, and this week it has brought in $2.4 million. This is kind of wild. It increased its gross its first 3 weeks in release. That doesn't happen very often, but it caught on at just the right time with the school holidays in different states going wide, boosting up that revenue. So at number 3, we have One Battle After Another with another $1.4 million, dropping 21% in its second week of release for a current total of $4.4 million. At number 4, we have Kangaroo with a little bit more of that school holiday boost, bringing in just under $900,000 in its third week of release, gaining 45% for a current total of $3.5 million. And rounding out the top 5 is Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, also gaining 11% in its third week of release, bringing in just under $900,000 for a current total of $1.7 million. Moving on to 6 through 10, at number 6 we have Kantara A Legend, Chapter 1, bringing in just over $600,000. It is a Kannada language historical action movie out of India that did some good numbers. At number 7, we have The Conjuring Last Rites with another $500,000 in its 5th week of release, dropping 43% for a current total of $14.1 million. At number 8, we have Avatar: The Way of the Water, a 1-week rescreening, bringing in just under $500,000 for a current total of $93.7 million is on that gross. The Avatar movies make money. At number 9, we have Demon Slayer, the movie Infinity Castle with another $400,000. Its 4th week in release, dropping 46% for a current total of $9.6 million. Now, that amount is closing in on it's currently the second highest anime of all time in Australia, even adjusted for inflation. Unadjusted for inflation, it is already miles in front of everything else, but adjusted for inflation, it's right on the tails of Pokemon, the first movie, which has held that record for like 25 years. We'll have a quick update chart of that just after the top 10. And at number 10, rounding out the top 10, is Downtown Abbey, the grand finale, bringing in another $388,000 its 4th week of release, dropping 43% for a current total of $5.7 million. Alright, let's take that updated look at the concert/music event type movies and their opening weekends in Australia. As you can see there, Taylor Swift at number 1, Taylor Swift at number 2. The only person that the official release party of a showgirl didn't beat is Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. So if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you've got to be happy with that, because look at everything else trailing behind. Nothing has come close to Taylor Swift's dominance at the box office from a concert/music event movie. And, well, I'm not sure that's going to change anytime soon. And let's take a look at the updated anime. So this is the anime theatrical releases, their total gross in the Australian box office. This is inflation adjusted. So you can see there, unadjusted for inflation, Demon Slayer the movie Infinity Castle is number 1 by a very significant margin. However, adjusted for inflation, it is so close to beating Pokemon the first movie. Pokemon the first movie brought in an adjusted total of $10.1 million because it was released all the way back in 1999. Can it get there? It only needs like $500,000? I think it might. We will keep an eye on this, and I will let you guys know if it does get there. Another week with no major changes or any changes on the 2025 top 10 of the Australian box office. So the top 10 of everything released in 2025. Just some balance adjustments. Minecraft movie still sits at number 1 with 56.2 million. Lilo and Stitch at number 2 with 34.3 million. Jurassic World Rebirth at 31.4 million. At number 4, How to Train Your Dragon at 30.3 million. At number 5, F1 the movie, just behind it at $30.1 million. At number 6, we have Superman at $24.8 million. Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning at number 7 with $23.6 million. The Fantastic Four First Steps with $17.9 million at number 8. And Paddington in Peru sits at number 9 with $17.8 million. And Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy rounds out the top 10 with its $16.5 million. There are a couple of movies knocking on that door, so I wouldn't be surprised in the next week or two if we see something pop up and knock Bridget Jones off. So we'll keep an eye on that. Moving on to upcoming theatrical releases that you can catch at the cinema this weekend. October 9th, we have Tron Ares, the third installment of the Tron series. This one is directed by Joachim Ronning and starring Jared Leto, Greta Lee, and Gillian Anderson. The soundtrack is awesome. I've been playing it the last couple of weeks, so I'll be seeing this, if not for the soundtrack and maybe the visuals. I'm not expecting an actually good movie though. We also have Beast of War, a new Australian movie set in World War II, a historical thriller about a small group of soldiers stuck on a raft after their ship is sunk and a shark awaits. So if you're into that type of thing. Directed by Kia Roche-Turner and starring Mark Coles-Smith, Joel Nankervis, and Lee Tiger Halley. In limited release, so check your smaller and indie cinemas, we have The Travellers, another Aussie movie. This one's a drama directed by Bruce Beresford, starring Luke Bracey, Brian Brown, and Susie Porter. We also have A House of Dynamite, the latest Catherine Bigelow movie, a war thriller about a single unidentified missile fired at the US and the race to identify and respond, starring Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson, and Jared Harris. I'm very keen to try and catch this one on the weekend alongside Tron. I expect The House of Dynamite to be the better of the two movies. We also have Louise Violet, aka Miss Violet, depending on where you look, a French movie from 2024 that makes its way to Australia. This one being a French historical period drama directed by Eric Bossand. Over on streaming, The Woman in Cabin 10 on Netflix, we have this new thriller movie written and directed by Simon Stone, starring Keira Knightley, Guy Pearce, and Hannah Waddington, about a journalist witnessing someone being thrown overboard on a yacht, only to be told that everyone is accounted for and yeah, everything's fine. It releases on Netflix on the 10th of October. We have Vicious on Paramount Plus, a new horror thriller. Vicious is written and directed by Brian Bettino, starring Dakota Fanning, Catherine Hunter, and Rachel Blanchard. It releases October 10th on Paramount Plus. We also have Boots, on Netflix on October 9th, a new comedy series about a gay youth who joins the United States Marine Corps in the 90s. You can catch that one, as I said, on Netflix. We also have Splinter Cell Death Watch, a new animated series on Netflix, releasing on the 14th of October. Splinter Cell Death Watch, a spin-off of the titular game. Netflix continues with their video game animated adaptation to see what works, as they've had a pretty good track record with a lot of them. And in returning series, on the 13th of October on Disney Plus, you can catch Season 6 of Solar Opposites. I've not had the chance to catch this one, but I've always got too much to watch. But that is what's upcoming this week on your streaming platforms and theatrical releases. With 4 movies watched for the theme of cat and mouse, let's dive into what I watched. First up was Play Dirty, directed by Shane Black and starring Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield, and Rosa Salazar. A movie of a small-time crook, some heists, and some double-crossing. I had fun with this one. Some Shane Black comedy in style, not his best work, but enjoyable enough ride. Can't complain. Next up was a rewatch of the 2021 gem Cop Shop, directed by Joe Carnum, and starring Gerald Butler, Frank Grillo, and Alexis Louder, as well as an amazing Toby Huss performance. A small-scale, semi-bottle movie set in an isolated police station with two criminals in holding that might be more than they let on. I really like this one, more so on a rewatch. I think it's great. It's got a really tight script, great dialogue, top performances, some good solid action, and as I said earlier, an amazing role from Toby Huss. Like, one of the most incredible performance ever. Next was another rewatch of 2022's Sisu from Finland, directed by Jalmari Helander and starring Jorma Tomila and Askel Heni, about an old ex-soldier in World War II who discovers a gold haul and is trying to get it to the capital bank, but retreating German soldiers intervene and violence ensues. I love this one. It's old man John Wick in World War II is the basic premise, and it works. I'm not sure what the sequel will deliver in a few months, but I am very, very keen to check it out, and that's why I wanted to get this rewatch done as well. Finally was the new Australian movie Primitive War, directed by Luke Spark, starring Jeremy Piven, Tricia Helfer, and Ryan Quittan. It's about a team of soldiers in Vietnam being sent on a secret mission to track a lost squad, and they find themselves isolated and hunted by dinosaurs. A dumb, fun movie, but kinda overstayed its welcome for a movie of its type. I think if it had been to that 90 to 100 minutes, it would have been a blast, but pushing 130 minutes for this type of movie is not required. I think there's an easy 20 to 30 minutes that could have been cut, and I think that would have made it much more enjoyable as well. But, you know, it was what it is. It's a dinosaur movie versus soldiers. You get what you pay for, so it is what it is. For this week's Cinechums Movie Challenge, it's about vanished and missing. So missing people or objects, supernatural vanishings, emotionally lost, invisible and the unseen, or keywords like lost, vanished, gone, hidden, faden, etc. So we've got a few options there. I've already ticked off The Lost Bus. I watched that on Monday, but we've got things like Paprika, Gone Girl, Burning, Breakdown, Gone, Gone Baby Gone, Touch, Lost Girls, Prisoners, Predator. Let's have a look at my shortlist. My shortlist consists of things like Alone in the Dark or Highest to Lowest. We've got Lost in Starlight, A Man in the Hat, Little Fish, or The Forgotten Battle. So we've got a few options. We'll see how we go. That is it for me this week. But tune in next week where we will be looking at how Tron does. I'm sure the expectations from the studio are pretty high for that one. I'm also keen to see how A House of Dynamite does. It's got a lot of awards buzz, so it might bring in some decent numbers from that movie-going cinephile audience. I'll be trying to catch both of those movies on maybe Saturday, so that is going to be my weekend largely booked. What about you? You guys heading out to see what you can see? But that's it for me this week. Have a good one, watch more movies, and I'll see you next week. Bye!